Abdul is in Liverpool. He's given me a ring, 0344 499 1000. Abdul, you're very welcome to the programme. You're on the air. What point would you like to make?
Yeah, hi Peter. Thanks for taking my call. I want to talk about the tensions going on between Iran and Israel.
Sure.
Because I'm from the Muslim community myself. I just noticed the double standard, in the Muslim community. And I've tried to point this out to them. But I myself, I am pro-Palestinian, of course. I'm horrified by the amount of civilians being killed in Gaza. At the same time, I also condemn, the Iranian regime. But the Muslim community, they seem to have no problem. They just let it slide. They seem to forget the Iranian regime atrocities in Syria. They were directly complicit in slaughtering more than 250,000 innocent civilians with Bashar Assad. They brought in Hezbollah from the south. They even brought the Russians to carry out airstrikes in Syria. Nobody was calling for a ceasefire. Nobody was out protesting. They just let it slide. But when it comes to Israel, they're all united, against the war Israel is doing. Okay, it's just double standard. It's because my family, they're all pro-Hamas. During October the 7th, they changed their logo, profile logo on WhatsApp.
How do you feel towards Hamas, Abdul?
No, they're a terror group. For sure, they are a terror group, and they have to be dealt with. And they're backed by Iran. They can't be no good. When you're backed by the Iranian regime, you can't be no good. Iran regime is the cancer in the region.
So what do you think should happen now? Because there'll be a lot of pressure, Abdul, won't there, on Benjamin Netanyahu, on Israel, from his own people to retaliate. There'll be a lot of pressure from the international community not to retaliate. We know the Israeli cabinet is meeting at 1:30 this afternoon. What should he do you think?
They have to cut the head. Iran is the head of the snake. They have to deal with them. They need to remember that, before October the 7th, there was real hope for stability and peace in the region. With Saudi Arabia recognizing Israel and all these Arab League, nations coming together to normalize. And then October 7th happened. The timing is significant. It happened because of that. Iran does not want any turmoil, any news of turmoil and peace in the region. It gets them vexed. They don't want that. They want trouble. They want bloodshed. They sent out militias in Iraq to kill tens of thousands of Sunnis in Iraq. They sent militias to Syria to kill more than 250,000 innocent civilians. A lot of people they forgot about that. They just let it slide. In Yemen, they caused the turmoil, the civil war in Yemen, which has killed more than
Abdul, this is sorry to interrupt you.
They caused that turmoil.
I've got to go to a break.
Real cancer in the region. Yeah.
I agree with you. I've got to go to a break in a second, but I just want to ask you, Abdul, I'll be honest, I haven't heard your perspective many times from British Muslims. What is it like for you to have the perspective you have? You're talking about your family disagreeing with you on Hamas and so on. Yeah,
well, they call me a rat, because they call me a rat, a hypocrite and all that, because, I condemn terror. I'm for peace and all that, okay? And I don't have double standards, okay? I condemn Israel, war in Gaza, and I also condemn the Iranian regime atrocities during the past 2 decades. They've been way worse than Israel. They've killed way more innocent civilians than Israel. I would say that Israel is much, much more the lesser evil compared to the Iranian regime. Like, if a war was to break out, I would stand with Israel against Iran. Any day.
Okay, Abdul, thank you very much indeed. I haven't heard that perspective very many times. Really interesting to hear it from you. Thank you for giving me a ring